pt1ers, as you know, today we are talking about tuberculosis, otherwise known as TB. Now, the problem with this isn't just the disease itself, but it is the stigma that surrounds it, because so often people call it a dirty disease. Now, this can really negatively impact individuals who are living with TB and the people around them, and it often leads to people delaying getting diagnosed or even delaying treatment.
Exactly, my HNIs, and that is why we always bring you experts to educate you on subjects like this and, of course, give you solutions on what you can do. Today is no different. We are joined by the lovely Zani de Vet from the University of Cape Town. She is a community engagement officer, and she's going to be talking to us all things about TB. Zani, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you, Joy and Angelica. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for coming through. Now we're going to get straight into it. I think just to start off, you can explain to us and our lovely viewers what is TB and how can one actually contract it.
Okay, so TB is an airborne disease, and it's caused by bacteria known as Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and it's spread through the air through tiny droplets. When someone is infected with TB, sneeze, coughs, spits or sings, those droplets are projected into the air, and when someone breathes it in, that's how they can become infected with TB.
Oh wow, so it's as simple as that. And the different stages of it, are there any stages, or is it just one thing, black and white?
Yes, we do have different kinds of TB. So the normal TB, which is the most common one, is the drug sensitive. There's MDR TB, multi-drug resistant TB, and the XDR TB is extensive drug resistance. It's just important to note that you don't have to get normal TB first before you can have MDR or XDR. It depends on the strain that you get infected with.
Okay, so in terms of being infected, obviously we want to minimize that as much as possible, and the best way to do that is to really actually know and recognize the symptoms. So when it comes to these symptoms, you mentioned a cough. What is different about the symptoms of TB versus other things like COVID? Because often people assume someone's coughing, whoa, they have COVID.
Yes, that's a really good question. I think the symptoms overlap so much that people think they have a flu or they have COVID. So the symptoms for TB is night sweats, the cough for more than 2 weeks, fever, weight loss, loss of appetite. So those are symptoms that's really common that you can confuse for something else, and then people don't actually go to seek testing or treatment because they think, no, I'll get over it, I'll become better.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, my HNIs, I hope you guys are taking notes. Night furts, cough, all of those, make sure that you take them into account. But also, what about the stigmas around, TB? We often know that when people have such a disease, they're often stigmatized in society. People look at them in a funny way. Why do you think that happens in society today, and what can we do about it?
So the three biggest stigmas, I would say, is, because you mentioned it, people think you're dirty, you're unhygienic, you don't take care of yourself, or that it's a poor man's disease, which is really, really not true. It's a big myth. It can affect anyone, regardless of your background. It doesn't discriminate, race, age, anything. The other stigma that there is the link between HIV and TB. People think if you have TB, you have HIV, or if you have HIV, you will get TB, which is not true. There is a link, and the only link is that the TB lowers your immune system, and HIV is a disease of the immune system. So when you have HIV, you are much more susceptible to actually get any type of opportunistic infection, such as TB.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I think that's what you just touched on right now. I mean, just the relationship with HIV. I know in schools, often people don't really talk about TB unless they're speaking in the context of HIV. So things like this is leading to a lot of misinformation, and it's really promoting the stigma. So would you say that the stigma is actually a bit of a loop? The disease has caused the stigma, so it's a consequence, but it's also a drive for people refusing to not, to go get tested or seeking help, seeking treatment. Do you feel like it's a constant loop?
Yes, definitely. It's a cycle. I think at this stage, TB is actually more stigmatized than HIV is. So people are afraid to disclose. They don't even want to tell family members for fear of being ostracized. They keep it away from employers. So it becomes a very lonely journey, and people don't want to go to the clinic, to the TB side, because then people, no, you have TB. So it is this big loophole, and when you are on your treatment, you don't take your treatment as as you are supposed to because you're hiding the tablets. You don't want everyone to see that you're actually on the medication.
Wow. I love that you're adding that. But my HNNs, we asked you on social medias, what can we do to be more supportive of those living with TB and educate ourselves about the disease? And you guys are actually bringing comments through. We've got one here from Sarah, and she actually has a question, Zani. And she says, how do you know that someone has TB?
Especially if they don't know it themselves.
Yes. So as I said, the symptoms is really common. So you do need to go to the clinic for a test. They will take 2 sputum samples, which I will send to a laboratory, and it can only be confirmed in that way. The clinic will call you back in 2 to 3 days. It's free at the clinics. You don't have to pay for the medication or the test at public health clinics.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there you go, my H9ers. You can do something about it. So we actually have another comment from Drecker, who said, #Hectic Talk, is it possible for a child who's under the age of 10 years to have TB?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So, I mean, small babies can get TB. That's why we have the BCG vaccination, which you get as soon as you are born, but it's unfortunately only effective until you are 5 years old. So small children get TB from adults. They can't get, infect others with TB. But yes, it doesn't discriminate any age. You can get infected.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Zani. You are sharing a lot. And I know my HNNs, you guys still have more questions and comments. But all of that, we're going to talk about it when we come back right after the commercial break. Zani is still around, so make sure you also stick around. See you right after this.
Hectic.